Hello, my friends over on YouTube. Hello, my friends over on TikTok. So today, we're going to have a chat about it's okay to not be okay. So, um, yesterday I had a really bad day. Let's just start there. Really, really bad. Like cried most of the day bad. And there's I'm going through a really difficult situation right now in my personal life, and I read a book over the weekend that has kind of given me some perspective and helped me. And so that's what this lesson today is all about. It's about being. It's okay to be not okay. There we go. So we did not want to come out. But the book that I've been reading is called Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins. I highly recommend it being a read. If you have any kind of situation that's like above your pay grade, like you feel like there's not anything you can do to fix or remedy your situation, it would be a book that you might consider reading. I'm an avid reader because reading helps. So, again, that book is called Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins. So a few points I want to make about going through a stressful situation and not feeling okay. Like, the first thing that I want to say is that, again, it's okay to not be okay. But point number one, let's just get to the points. I'm going to give you 4 points and then 5 practical tips to persevering through a situation where you don't feel good about whatever. So point number one is don't suppress it. Carl Jung says, what you resist persists. So sometimes, like, just trying to push through a situation, or even if you're a Christian, going into warfare about some types of situations, it isn't going to help. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Sometimes you just need to rest. You just need to take a break. But don't, and letting go is the key to not suppressing it. Like, just saying, like yesterday, when I was feeling really, really weary about the struggle that I'm going through, and I was crying, instead of getting upset that I was upset, and instead of saying, I just need to ignore it, I just need to do something, I allowed myself to feel the way I felt. And I said, it's okay to feel this way. It does hurt. And then just sit there with it for a minute. That's the letting go in Dr. Hawkins' book, is just being aware of the feeling, acknowledging the feeling, but then releasing it. So if you're going through something, give that a shot because it really does help to kind of neutralize the intensity of the feeling. So, like yesterday, when I was feeling bad and I was crying and I was upset, I just closed my eyes, took a couple of deep breaths, and said, it's okay to feel this way. It does hurt. I understand, it's okay. It's okay to feel it. And then I would just take some more deep breaths, not allow any kind of thoughts to come in, not allow anything, just kind of sit with it. And in Dr. Hawkins' book, he describes that, hey girl, he describes that it only takes about 60 to 90 seconds for your brain to kind of rewire and recalibrate. But what a lot of times what we do, instead of taking that time to just be aware of what we're feeling and just kind of be in peace in that feeling, what we do is our mind starts rolling all the what ifs, what could happen next week, next month, next year, today, tomorrow. This is never going to get any better. For me, I'm never going to get to see my grandkids. They're going to grow up. They're going to not even know who I am. I'm going to miss everyone else. I mean, my brain could literally go a million different directions with the situation that I'm going through. But I and I think that's important why in the Bible it says to capture every thought and bring it into captivity. You have to just literally silence your mind and just sit there in it and not allow it to become catastrophized. So point number 1 is don't suppress it. Point number 2 is to acknowledge that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So, and this is really hard for us moms. A lot of times if we're going through something tough, we just push through. We just keep going. We keep going until we literally end up with a chronic illness or a disease that cannot be managed, or we crash and burn and just are completely incapacitated. So I think it's better if we learn to manage our feelings, learn to manage what we're going through on the daily and say, you know what, today's just going to be a day when I take it easy. Today's going to be a day when I rest. And tell your family or tell your, it's a little bit difficult if you have a full-time job, but you do what you have to do, but you don't, kill yourself in the process of going above and beyond. But some days you just do the bare minimum and you take care of yourself, right? That's hard for me sometimes because I'm not a bare minimum kind of person. So I'm working on that. Okay, so that's point number 2. You can't pour from an empty cup. Point number 3 is God's strength in your weakness. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, it says, "My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness." So lean on him. Yesterday, I read a scripture. If you didn't catch that video, it's going to be under my live shorts, but it's in Psalms, and it talks about how when you're weary and you're sad, God literally says he keeps a record of every single one of our tears, and that he will defeat our enemies, and we just need to lean on him. So, your tears are not in vain. I was praying the other day and I was upset about the same situation a couple days ago, and the Lord ministered to me, and I just said, I just told him I'm so sad. And he said to me, it's okay to feel that way. And he said, I'm sad too. So don't leave him out. Be honest with the Lord. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling disappointed, if you're feeling anxious, tell him about it. He can't help you if we aren't, number 1, we don't tell him what's going on. And number 2, we aren't honest with him with how we feel. I was having a conversation with my youngest daughter the other day, and I was like, I'm just kind of hesitant these days to even call myself a Christian. Hear me out. Because I feel like that term is just thrown around so loosely, and I feel like that people, mean, hateful, judgmental people call themselves Christians, and they don't have the fruit of the Spirit. They don't have the love of Christ exuding from their being. And most importantly, you could tell that they don't have those things, or the reason that they don't have those things because they don't have a relationship with the Lord. They don't have intimacy with the Lord. So prayer is not some kind of lofty thing that only priests, only pastors can do. Prayer is you talking with your friend, you talking with your father. If you have a healthy parent and you're struggling with something, and me as a parent, I can definitely say this. If my child is struggling with something, I don't care how many times they've struggled with it in the past. If they're struggling with it today, I want them to come to me for help. I'm not going to be like, we already crossed this road a couple years ago with you and your anxiety. Get over it. No, I'm going to say, okay, let's see what we can do. Let's see how we can help. That's the same. Do you think God wants us to just not include him when we need help? Do you think God doesn't want us to use him as a resource? That's something powerful to think about. Okay, so practical tips. Let's talk about some practical tips because I love giving y'all some tips. Number 1, name it and claim it. Write down what's weighing you down, and getting it out of your head and putting it on paper can be very helpful. That way you can see it more clearly. Number 2, phone a friend or talk to somebody online that you consider to be a friend, a trusted resource for you. Don't isolate yourself. Reach out to someone you trust. Community is where healing begins. So important. Number 3, take a Sabbath moment. I've already talked about this just a couple minutes ago, but even if you can't take a whole day break, just make yourself a cup of coffee and have a moment just in silence. Just take a 10-minute break, a 15-minute break. Again, I'm going to revert back to mamas. Us mamas, we tend to just not even let ourselves have a 5-second break, right? Especially when our kiddos are little, we just go, 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 go. And then when they're napping, we go, oh, and now it's time to do all the laundry and clean the whole house and, paint the outside, It's okay to take a break every now and then, to collapse on the couch and, just scroll or read a book or listen to some music or watch a movie. It's okay to take a break. And number 4 is keep moving through it. Psalms 23:4 doesn't say camp out in the valley. I love that. It says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it does. In other words, it's saying you're walking through it. So you keep going. You don't stop. Don't stay stuck. And then number 5, which is probably one of the most important things, is don't stay there forever. And once you've decided that it's time to step out of that feeling, and that it is a decision, is a decision, then go do something to raise your energy level. And what can you do to raise your energy level? There are lots of things you can do to raise your energy level. You can watch a movie that makes you laugh. You can go outside, go for a walk, exercise, hug someone, pet a dog or another animal. Animals have extremely high frequencies, so loving on an animal will definitely help. Hug a tree. Nature has energy levels. Go for a swim, put your feet in the water somewhere, preferably a natural water source, a pond, a lake, ocean. Very helpful. If you can't, taking a shower or taking a bath, water has a frequency. Water will help you feel better. So do something that raises your energy level. If you're watching over here on TikTok, hey guys, why don't you comment a couple of different things you do to help raise your energy level? Okay, but to sum up this video, and I am going to stick around for you guys on TikTok because we have quite a few people on here, and just see if you have any questions and see if you want me to keep talking about it's okay to not be okay, because I am here to encourage you today. But to sum it up, it is okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there forever. So take these steps, give yourself some grace. Let God help strengthen you. Remember, it says in the Bible, the joy of the Lord is my strength. So if you're feeling down, another really powerful thing you can do is just ask the Lord to Lord, give me your joy. Because you say in the word, the joy of the Lord is my strength. And I need some of your joy today. Ask him for that. So love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I'm not leaving TikTok. I'm just turning off my stream on YouTube.